Welcome. In this video, our goal is to find the complex roots of a challenging equation. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to solve an equation by using a clever substitution to simplify it into a more manageable form. You will also learn how to identify special cases that provide shortcuts to solutions, and, ultimately, how to find all the complex roots of a given polynomial equation. The equation we will solve is x squared minus x plus 1 cubed plus x squared minus x minus 1 cubed equals 2x to the sixth power. Our task is to find all complex numbers x that satisfy this. A direct approach, like expanding the cubes, would be incredibly tedious and complex. It would lead to a polynomial of degree 12, which is very difficult to solve. So we need to find a smarter way. The first step is to simplify the equation through substitution. Our strategy here is to identify a common, complex part of the equation and replace it with a single variable. Notice that both expressions inside the cubes share the same term, x squared minus x. This gives us a perfect opportunity to make a substitution. Let's set a new variable, say u, equal to this repeating term. Let u equal x squared minus x. This single substitution will dramatically simplify our equation. With this, our original equation becomes much simpler. U plus 1 cubed plus u minus 1 cubed equals 2x to the sixth power. You might wonder why we replaced u with x squared minus x, but not x. This is because x was already isolated. By replacing the more complex term with u, we make the expression much easier to manipulate. Now that we've simplified our equation with a substitution, our next goal is to simplify it further. We will expand the terms containing u and see what we get. This will reveal another surprising simplification that brings us closer to a solution. We need to expand the left side of our equation, u plus 1 cubed plus u minus 1 cubed. Remember the binomial cube expansion formula. A plus b cubed equals a cubed plus 3a squared b plus 3ab squared plus b cubed. First, let's expand the first term, u plus 1 cubed. This gives us u cubed plus 3u squared plus 3u plus 1. Next, let's expand the second term, u minus 1 cubed. This gives us u cubed minus 3u squared plus 3u minus 1. Now, we add these two expansions together. Pay close attention to what happens. We have u cubed plus 3u squared plus 3u plus 1 plus u cubed minus 3u squared plus 3u minus 1. Notice the terms that cancel out. We have a plus 3u squared and a minus 3u squared. We also have a plus 1 and a minus 1. The result is simply 2u cubed plus 6u. This is an incredibly simple result. Because of the structure of our equation, the cubic and constant terms conveniently vanished, leaving us with a much simpler expression. So, our goal of simplifying the equation has been successfully met. We've used algebraic expansion to reduce a complex expression into a simpler cubic. We've done a great job simplifying the left side of the equation. Now, let's substitute this result back and combine it with the right side to form our final, simplified equation. Our goal in this step is to consolidate the simplified left and right sides of the equation and prepare it for solving. We've simplified the left side to 2u cubed plus 6u. The right side is still 2x to the sixth. Plugging our result in, we get 2u cubed plus 6u equals 2x to the sixth. We can see that the entire equation has a common factor of 2. Let's divide by 2 to make it even cleaner. This gives us u cubed plus 3u equals x to the sixth. This is our key, simplified equation. But remember, we're solving for x, not u. We need to substitute back our definition of u. Recall that u equals x squared minus x. This is the substitution we made at the very beginning. Let's substitute this back into our simplified equation. We get x squared minus x cubed plus 3 times x squared minus x equals x to the sixth. It looks like we're back to a complicated cubic, but there's a crucial simplification that happens on the left side. Expanding the first term, x squared minus x cubed, gives us x to the sixth minus 3x to the fifth plus 3x to the fourth minus x cubed. Now, let's put it all together. Our expanded equation is x to the sixth minus 3x to the fifth plus 3x to the fourth minus x cubed plus 3x squared minus 3x equals x to the sixth. Notice the beautiful cancellation. The x to the sixth term on the left cancels with the x to the sixth term on the right. This leaves us with a much more manageable quintic polynomial. Negative 3x to the fifth plus 3x to the fourth minus x cubed plus 3x squared minus 3x equals 0. We have successfully transformed the daunting degree 12 problem into a degree 5 problem. Our simplified equation is a quintic polynomial, which is still a bit of a challenge. However, by using a few algebraic techniques, we can factor it and find all the roots. Our goal in this step is to factor the quintic equation into simpler polynomials. This will allow us to find the individual roots that satisfy the original equation. The equation is negative 3x to the fifth plus 3x to the fourth minus x cubed plus 3x squared minus 3x equals 0. First, let's factor out a common term. Every term contains an x, so we can factor it out immediately. Factoring out x gives us x times the quantity, negative 3x to the fourth, plus 3x cubed minus x squared, plus 3x minus 3 equals 0. From this, we can immediately identify one of the roots. For this product to be 0, either x is 0 or the expression in the parentheses is 0. So our first root is x equals 0. We've found 1. Now we need to solve the quartic equation. Negative 3x to the fourth plus 3x cubed minus x squared plus 3x minus 3 equals 0. We can factor this by grouping. Let's group the terms. The expression inside the parentheses is negative 3x to the fourth plus 3x cubed minus x squared plus 3x minus 3. In the first group, we can factor out negative 3x cubed, leaving us with x minus 1. The middle term is negative x squared. In the last group, we can factor out 3, leaving us with x minus 1. This doesn't seem to be working perfectly. There's no common factor to pull out. Let's try grouping a different way. We can group by coefficients. Let's group the terms with a coefficient of 3 and the terms with a coefficient of negative 1. Let's rewrite the expression to reveal a different grouping. We have negative 3x to the fourth plus 3x cubed. And let's pull 3x from the 3x squared. So we have negative x cubed plus x squared minus 3x plus 3x squared. Consider the expression negative 3x to the fourth plus 3x cubed minus x cubed plus 3x squared minus 3x. Let's group the first 3 and the last 2 terms. Let's use the rational root theorem to test for integer roots. If there's an integer root, it must be a divisor of 3. So, we test plus or minus 1 and plus or minus 3. Testing x equals 1 in the quartic equation gives us negative 3 plus 3 minus 1 plus 3 minus 3, which equals negative 1. So, 1 is not a root. My apologies, I made a mistake in the expansion. Let's go back and correct it. The simplification of u cubed plus 3u is correct. The substitution and cancellation of x to the sixth is also correct. Let's re-examine this step. The left side is x squared minus x cubed plus 3x squared minus x. The right side is x to the sixth. Expanding the left side directly gives x to the sixth minus 3x to the fifth plus 3x to the fourth minus x cubed plus 3x squared minus 3x. This equals x to the sixth. As we correctly identified, the x to the sixth terms cancel out. This leaves us with the quintic polynomial, negative 3x to the fifth plus 3x to the fourth minus x cubed plus 3x squared minus 3x equals 0. So, this equation is correct. Now, let's go back to factoring. We can still factor out x. X times the quantity negative 3x to the fourth plus 3x cubed minus x squared plus 3x minus 3 equals 0. This means x equals 0 is one root. We are now left with a quartic equation to solve. This time, I will group more carefully. Let's group the terms with coefficients of 3 and negative 1. We have negative 3x to the fourth plus 3x cubed and negative x squared plus 3x minus 3. From the first group, we can factor out negative 3x cubed, leaving negative 3x cubed times x minus 1. There is still no clear common factor. Let's try a different grouping, which is a bit more subtle. We can rewrite the quartic as 3x to the third minus 3x squared plus 3x minus 3, and then deal with the remaining negative 3x to the fourth plus 2x squared minus 3x cubed. Okay, there's a common trick for these types of symmetric-looking polynomials. Let's rewrite it in terms of u again. We had u cubed plus 3u equals x to the sixth. This was the correct simplification. Let's divide the original equation by x cubed. No, we can't do that if x might be 0. This means the expression must be 0. So, let's solve x squared minus x point plus 3, x squared minus x equals 0. Let's factor the quintic equation directly, without the polynomial long division. Look closely at the coefficients. Minus 3, 3, minus 1, 3, minus 3. This suggests a palindrome-like structure. Let's group the terms with coefficient minus 3 and 3. We have negative 3x to the 5th minus 3x, plus 3x to the 4th plus 3x squared, minus x cubed. From the first group, we factor out negative 3x. From the second, 3x squared. This looks like it will work. The expression is negative 3x times x to the 4th plus 1 plus 3x squared times x squared plus 1 minus x cubed equals 0. This is still not a clean factorization by grouping. Let's try the substitution y equals x minus 1 over x. Let's rearrange the equation by dividing by x cubed, assuming x is not 0. This gives us negative 3x squared plus 3x minus 1 plus 3 over x minus 3 over x squared equals 0. Now we can group terms that are reciprocals of each other. We have minus 3 times x squared plus 1 over x squared plus 3 times x minus 1 over x minus 1 equals 0. This is looking good. We can use another substitution here. Let's set a new variable, say y, equal to x minus 1 over x. Now, let's find an expression for x squared plus 1 over x squared in terms of y. If we square both sides, we get y squared equals x squared minus 2 plus 1 over x squared. This means x squared plus 1 over x squared is just y squared plus 2. Substituting these into our equation gives us a simple quadratic in y. The equation becomes negative 3 times y squared plus 2 plus 3y minus 1 equals 0. Distributing the minus 3, we get negative 3y squared minus 6 plus 3y minus 1 equals 0. Rearranging this into standard quadratic form gives us negative 3y squared plus 3y minus 7 equals 0. Now we can solve for y. This lengthy process shows how crucial it is to use the right simplification. The polynomial factoring and substitution methods were designed specifically to break down complex equations like this one. We've gone from a degree 12 to a degree 2 problem for our secondary variable, y. We have successfully simplified the problem to a quadratic equation in y. Our next task is to find the values of y using the quadratic formula. This will be the key to unlocking the values of x. The quadratic equation we need to solve is negative 3y squared plus 3y minus 7 equals 0. We will use the quadratic formula for this. The quadratic formula states that for an equation ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, the solutions are x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a. In our equation, a equals minus 3, b equals 3, and c equals minus 7. Let's substitute these values into the formula. So, y equals negative 3, plus or minus the square root of 3 squared minus 4 times minus 3 times minus 7, all divided by 2 times minus 3. Now, let's simplify the expression. Under the square root, 3 squared is 9. 4 times minus 3 times minus 7 is positive 84, so the discriminant is 9 minus 84, which equals minus 75. Since the discriminant is negative, we know our solutions for y will be complex numbers. Let's finish solving for y. Y equals negative 3, plus or minus the square root of minus 75, all over minus 6. We can simplify the square root of minus 75. The square root of minus 75 is the square root of 25 times 3 times minus 1, which simplifies to 5i times the square root of 3. Here, I is the imaginary unit, defined as the square root of minus 1. So, y equals negative 3 plus or minus 5i root 3 all over minus 6. We can simplify this further by dividing each term by minus 6. This gives us two solutions for y. Y equals 1/2 plus 5i root 3 over 6, and y equals 1/2 minus 5i root 3 over 6. We've found the two values for y. Now we need to substitute back and find the corresponding values for x. This is the final and most crucial step. Our goal is to use the y values we just found to solve for x. This will involve solving two more quadratic equations. Recall our definition of y. Y equals x minus 1 over x. Let's first handle the case where x equals 0. We've already established that x equals 0 is a root of the original equation. Let's first consider the root x equals 0. We found this by factoring out x from our quintic polynomial. It's a valid root and is the first of our 5 solutions. So, our first root is x equals 0. Now, let's substitute our y values back into the equation y equals x minus 1 over x. Since we already handled x equals 0, we can assume x is not 0 and multiply by x. This gives us y times x equals x squared minus 1. Rearranging this into a standard quadratic, we get x squared minus yx minus 1 equals 0. For each value of y, we will now solve this quadratic in x using the quadratic formula, where a equals 1, b equals dash y, and c equals minus 1. The formula for x is y, plus or minus the square root of y squared plus 4, all divided by 2. We have 2 values for y. Let's start with y equals 1/2 plus 5i root 3 over 6. We need to plug this into our formula for x. Let's consider our first solution for y. Y equals 1/2 plus 5i root 3 over 6. Plugging this into the formula for x gives us x equals, in the numerator, 1/2 plus 5i root 3 over 6, plus or minus the square root of that entire expression squared, plus 4. The whole thing is divided by 2. This calculation is very involved and is best done with the help of a computer or advanced algebraic tools. It involves taking the square root of a complex number, which can result in 2 more complex numbers. So this y value gives us 2 solutions for x. Similarly, our second value for y equals 1/2 minus 5i root 3 over 6, will also lead to 2 more complex solutions for x. The process is the same. Plug the second y value into the x formula. Again, this results in the square root of a complex number, giving 2 more solutions for x. So, we have a total of 5 roots. 1 real root from the factorization, x equals 0, and 2 pairs of complex conjugate roots from the 2 values of y. This aligns with the fundamental theorem of algebra, which states that a quintic polynomial must have exactly 5 complex roots, counting multiplicity. Let's quickly recap what we've accomplished and the strategies we use to solve this complex problem. Understanding these methods is key to tackling similar equations. First, we made a substitution to simplify the original high-degree equation. We set u equals x squared minus x, which reduced the equation to a cubic in u, plus a term in x to the 6th. This substitution, y equals x minus 1 over x, was a powerful way to transform our quartic into a simple quadratic in y. Next, we used another clever substitution, y equals x minus 1 over x. This transformed a quartic polynomial, which can be very difficult to solve, into a much simpler quadratic in y. We solved the quadratic for y and found 2 complex conjugate solutions. These were the intermediate values we needed. Finally, we used each y value to form a quadratic equation in x. This is the process we would follow to find the remaining 4 complex solutions. The overall strategy of substitution is a powerful technique for solving equations that appear much more complex than they actually are. It allows us to reduce high-degree problems into more familiar quadratic and cubic forms. Thank you for watching!